Hi, so welcome to Khyber. Happy to show you around and show you some parts of the interiors of the restaurant and some of the interesting stories behind how these interiors got evolved. So let me show you this. If you look at the whole design, look at the arches. These are specially been made in Rajasthan. This is done by hand, and this was done almost 40 years ago. And if you look at all this is all poetry that's been especially carved out on stone. If you look at the color theme of the restaurant, it's modeled on a village, the kind of visual that you might see in a hut. So if you look at the wall, if you see the inside of a hut, they put cow dung on the walls of the huts and they spread it with their hands. And this is how this has been done with plaster of Paris. So this is a more sort of a modern version of what you might see in a hut. So that's the kind of effect we try to create. If you come this side, this is perhaps one of the most sought after tables in the restaurant. All celebrities, everybody, this table is booked days in advance. So this is an exclusive table. It's for about 8 or 10 people and really sought after because of the privacy it affords you, and it's very comfortable and enjoyable experience. So this room is known as the Anjali Menon room. This has a lot of history because I don't know how many of you are aware that in 1985 this whole restaurant got burnt down. And when it was burnt down, if you look at the walls, this is the burnt wall of the restaurant. And our designer in her wisdom said that this is $1 million wall and we shouldn't touch it. So the wall was retained as it is, and Anjali Menon put a platform here and she actually physically painted on these walls herself. And to make it look even more authentic, if you notice, the wall has been chipped. Even the painting has been chipped in various parts. It's been chipped here just to give a feeling of the history, to give it a very old world look. It's called the Hussain room because of the Hussain paintings. Hussain himself spent many hours developing the art for this room. If you have a look at this painting, this is a self-portrait, as you can see, say in 1988. As also this art here, and this one here, known as the Begum. These three arts have been done by Hussain Saab, and that's why this is called the Hussain room. And here, as a matter of interest, this is the original wall of this restaurant 60 years ago. So this wall has been retained as it is. So we have not touched it.
So Khyber is an institution that began in 1958. It's a 65-year-old establishment now, and it really didn't start in the most upscale part of Bombay. We started in Kalagoda at that time. That was known for not to be the best area at that point of time, and it started off by my grandparents as a 10-seater dhaba restaurant essentially. And slowly, as it was more successful, we started to buy one room after the other, which is why when you walk to Khyber, you see it has a very meandering route. But that is merely coincidental because as each room came in, it came with its own shape, size and form. And we were fortunate to be able to keep expanding our restaurant until there was a tragic fire in '85. The fire was probably a turning point for me and my family because it was basically the golden goose in terms of something that was important for us, and that was really the source of everything that we were depending on at that point of time on. And 85 to 80, a good mid part of 87, the restaurant was not functional. I would give a lot of credit at this point of time to my parents because I think they stepped in at the right time. My dad, of course, being a graduate from IIM Ahmedabad, and my mother, who has a very keen eye for detail and design, collaborated with, I think, a contemporary visionary at that point of time, Ms. Parmeshwar Godrej, who of course I think brought out a lot more than just the food in Khyber, but brought forward an experience which I think people had not had before. To have collaborated with interesting artists like M.F. Hussain, Anjali Leela Menon, to paint on walls that had not been restored post the fire, like the wall I'm standing in front of at the moment, was a key component in terms of the success of the establishment as we reopened. There are so many unique and interesting things about Khyber, from the way the arches are carved to the inscriptions of the Urdu that we have on those arches and the pillars, the magnificent art that you see displayed across the restaurant, or the unique elements that we offer in terms of our food. Everything that we aim to do at Khyber is unique, it's different, and that's why we have been able to sustain over the course of the last 65 years. Of course, it was till very recently, just 10 years ago, that I joined my father in the business, and we have the inception of another brand that is a sister brand of Khyber, which is another brand called 145 that was spearled by me. I think the entire heritage and story behind Khyber is extremely rich, and it's not something that can be detailed in one conversation, but through the course of many small snippets. Khyber has been an iconic establishment. We have been able to cater the Khyber experience, which is something that was different once we reopened. And as part of the new measures that we plan to take now in the years to come, there are a few things that we're doing a little differently. We will be bringing the Khyber luxury experience to your doorstep. Something that people have asked us for years. How can we get Khyber food to our home, but how can we do it in a way where we feel like we're actually in the restaurant, right? That means that we send our team to your house to be able to create that feeling, to your weddings, to your caterings, to be able to create that experience of having Khyber to your doorstep. That is one of the things that we are planning to do as part of our 65-year-old plan. The second thing that we are planning to do is we're looking to do some international activations, collaborating with very cool, unique bars from around the world to take over Khyber, where we have never really focused on our bar program, and food has been the forefront of our focus. So that is another thing that we are planning to do. And of course, the third thing is we will aim to change as little as possible when it comes to Khyber, because whenever we do tend to change things, we face a lot of opposition from our customers, which I completely agree with, because I think that Khyber equals comfort, and I think that's what we're all about.
Hi, Midday. I'm Sudhir Behel.
Hi, Midday. I'm Ishan Behel. Paneer korma.
Yeah, paneer korma is. Goldie Hawn.
Brad Pitt.
Rogan Josh.
Tandoori.
Majestic.
Consistency.
Adi.
I'd agree.
I think after the fire, when we reopened in 1988, the following decade was one of the most spectacular decades in our journey.
International bar takeovers.
The round table here on the first floor. It's
The
exclusive
iconic,
and
yeah.
It's booked in advance. Very regal.
Royal.
The paneer korma, butter chicken, the raan.
Paya shorba.
Outside India, it would be London for sure. In India, it would
Hyderabad.
This actually happens quite often. Paul McCartney was here many years ago, and he had the paneer korma, and he went crazy about it, and he called the chef, called the managers, and he said, "I want the recipe of this dish, and I'm willing to pay for it."
Okay.
So it was quite unusual in that sense. Yeah.
We weren't able to give it away though.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.